Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Simone and SRNA, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing Apex, how I use it in my studies, and just kind of walking you through what you can find, different things you can find on the actual apexanesthesia.com website. So this is the website, apexanesthesia.com. This is the home screen when you first log in. You can use it as a student for an SRNA review, and then for continuing education for when you become a CRNA. They also just started doing conferences as well, which I would love to go to one day, but of course I can't because I'm in school. So this is the home screen here. So when you first log in, this is the login page here. Off to the side you have your course subscriptions, your classroom progress reports. They also offer flashcards that you can use on your phone. There is a huge workbook as well that you can use for studying. And then just other things here. So this in itself, I believe it's $350. And then I think you pay like $50 a year. That's all included when you first purchase it. So my actual subscription will expire August in 2022. So the whole purpose of you buying this, if it's recommended by your school, is you can use this as your review when you're studying for board. So I will actually graduate in May of 2022. So I still have about 3 months for me to use this to study for boards, which is why it's recommended that you kind of wait to purchase it. That way you're able to use this software after you graduate. So for me, I always go to course subscriptions, actually Start Learning. Actually go to Start Learning, and this is where you have your different units that I talk about. So respiratory is one, ANS, and it walks you all the way through. And then in the units are different lessons. So you'll have like airway anatomy, physiology, patho. Pretty much what you're studying in anesthesia school will kind of correlate into this. So I will just choose airway anatomy, and because I've studied this lesson numerous of times, it always asks you whether or not you like to resume where you left off. If it's something that I'm just coming back to review, sometimes I'll just click yes, or if I just want to restart it just so that I can study it again, then I'll click no. So for purposes of this video, I'm actually going to click no. So before every lesson or study material or whatever it is, it always starts off with a little like pre-quiz. And so this is where you it simulates what you'll see on boards. So the formatting of the different styles of questions that you may get on boards is what the lessons simulate. So this is an example of what you may see on boards is a matching question. I talk about doing hotspot, so hopefully there's a hotspot question here I can kind of show you. Once you get through, it will tell you whether or not you answered the question correctly, and then it'll lead you to what the question and the lesson it correlates. So the previous question was talking about the different muscles of the larynx, and this will explain it in further detail. So it tells you, what the muscle, what its action is, and then what nerve innervates it. So these are the things that we kind of need to know. And one thing I do love about Apex is the fact that it has amazing mnemonics. So for example, cricothyroid, the CT correlates with chords at tense is something how you can remember it, and so on and so forth. And it also has the references, which is always great. So NaGoHo is definitely the Bible for anesthesia. So a lot of our textbooks our main textbook is NaGoHo. So of course this is where it pulled that information. This is a reference where you can find it here, and then also has other anesthesia related books that you can obtain if you wanted to look up something further. So every lesson is similar to this format, and you can continue as well. So this one is another example, which is a matching select all and apply question, which is something I highly talk about in a lot of my videos as far as another testing style. So whether you get the answer incorrect or correct, it will tell you right then and there, and it'll also explain it, which is something I also love about this. So it has really good pictures, anything that you don't understand, this definitely explains it in the most simplest way possible. So you just continue on. Let me see if I can find, I believe, this question. So this question is a hotspot question. So it'll give you a picture, and you basically need to click on the area of wherever the question is basically discussing. So I'm actually just guessing here, but because we haven't talked about blocks yet, but this is an example of a hotspot question. So you have a limited small amount of area that you click from, but it basically tells you, where you need to click. And then it'll give you the explanation here, and it's a really cool resource that I really do like. So these are the examples of the lessons, and then the review exam. So at the end of each lesson, there is a review exam, and I believe it's just multiple exam-like questions. They range from anywhere to 10 to 15, even 20. And so that is what that is. The other thing I do like about this is the mobile flashcards. So of course you can use this on the go, and it'll have flashcards that you use. I mean, it's really that simple. The other thing that I actually discovered recently in my studies, probably within the last 2 weeks of school, is that they offer videos, which I did not know that they did, which was actually super, super helpful, because the anesthesia machine was something that I really struggled with trying to understand, and the videos are so amazing. They really do explain a lot of the things, very simple formatting. So the videos are pretty much walk you through things that you haven't seen before.
The safe device is the first internal component of the anesthesia machine, tasked with preventing the delivery of either the pipeline or the cylinder.
It really just walks you through what the machine is, what the different functions are, which is something that I like. They also have a few anatomy and physiology, especially with the airway, and then intubating. They also have medication-related questions, videos as well, pharmacology, and a little bit of patho. It's not a whole lot of stuff here, but it's definitely stuff that's super, super helpful that I really did enjoy while I was searching for different things earlier. And then the workbook, I actually will not pull up the workbook just because it's a really big workbook, but I can probably insert a screenshot so you can see. But it's basically the lessons that you basically use on your own. You fill it out. It's pretty much blank, but it has just things that you just need to write down for you to be able to remember, which is something that I'm going to try to do on this break, but I can't promise that I will get to it. The other thing that I do like about it is it constantly is being updated. They also have exams as well. So I believe in the summer semester, we'll be using Apex a lot to do a lot of our quizzes and stuff. So this is something that we will definitely be using. And then another thing that I do like about it is it gives you a study plan. So depending on when you book your boards exam, it gives you kind of like a step-by-step of how you can strategically use all of these plans in order to study the entire thing before you take your exam. And so this is another thing that I really do like. And then I believe the very last thing that I want to show you all is at the end, it also has mock exams as well. So when you have graduated and done all of the things to graduate with your DNP, you can do mock exams as another type of review in order to help you pass your boards. So this is how I personally like to use the Apex. What I like to do is I will first study my PowerPoints, read my textbook, go over and really try to understand the information. And then this is where I'll go into Apex to further correlate some of the things that I'm learning, and I'll go into the lesson and then study that as well. If perhaps there's a material that is very difficult for me to understand, then what I'll do is I'll do Apex first to get a more simpler explanation, and then I'll go back to my book. Of course, my book is the main source of where our questions are coming from, but Apex really just helps me solidify a lot of information, and I also like to use it as a form of review for myself, just so that I know that I'm actually comprehending the information as I go along. So this is Apex, this is the holy grail of my studying, and I really hope that you enjoyed kind of learning about how I use it and what I like to use it for. Definitely, if you are a CRNA or an SRNA, definitely get this as soon as possible. I do know that a lot of students after they graduate don't actually use this as a board review, but I honestly do feel like I personally will because I love the formatting of it. I never took a board review class or anything like that when I graduated nursing school. I kind of just studied on my own. So, of course, do whatever you feel is best, but this is something that I definitely will be using after I graduate. So, and another thing I forgot to mention, Apex does have podcasts as well. Definitely look at it on the Apple Store. I love listening to their podcast. It's actually really interesting and fun to listen to. And the two guys that do the podcast are really actually super interesting and fun to listen to. So definitely check them out. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit something about Apex Anesthesia. Of course, I'm not being paid for this, but I definitely wanted to just show you exactly why I love Apex so much and kind of have you have a visual of how I actually use it. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment down below and I'll talk to you in a later video. Bye, y'all.